Tonight on CTV News, failing to protect children.
It should never have gotten to where it did, ever.
A damning report into how police and the ministry handled the severe neglect of 3 siblings. A CTV exclusive.
There is a preponderance of criminals who are taking advantage of vulnerable folk.
The decline of downtown Victoria, a worker assaulted, public disorder and homelessness. The city's promise to turn things around.
Basically, within 2 hours of waking up that morning, she was completely paralyzed from her neck down.
Suddenly paralyzed, a BC University student is struck by a life-changing, rare condition. What her future holds.
This is CTV News with me, Jung Lee.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a scathing look at how authorities handled a case of severe child neglect in Fort St. John and the interior. We first told you last year about the 3 siblings removed from their home. Now, CTV News has reviewed a report that provides insight into how police and ministry officials failed to protect the children. Michelle Bernaro has more in this exclusive story and a warning some may find the details disturbing.
There are precious moments like these when 3 young siblings find joy in simple play.
When they are happy and feel safe and loved, it really makes all of this so worth it.
But this relative, who is also the children's guardian, says the happy times are punctuated by the dark consequences of children who've suffered years of neglect.
It should never have gotten to where it did, ever.
We can't report the family's name or show their faces, but relatives describe the children as being feral when they were first taken into care.
The conditions were horror. That's all I could describe it as. They were living in feces, eating feces. There were malnutrition.
Family members told CTV News last year the children had been locked in their rooms daily, were nonverbal, and not potty trained. An investigation by the Office of BC's Ombudsperson lays out the ministry's failings. It found 6 documented reports to social services raising concerns about neglect involving the children. The ministry received the first of these reports approximately 4 years before it took action to ensure that the children were protected from harm. The probe found some reports to social services were screened out at least partially due to communications issues, and it appears the ministry failed repeatedly to follow its own policies, including not doing an in-person visit following reports of neglect and failing to take action because the family moved, even though the ministry received another report of concern just 12 days later. RCMP visited the family's home on 2 occasions, including in May 2023.
The RCMP member found one of the children down the road with no clothing on.
But the report says social services didn't take action because police attended their home and informed the ministry they had no concerns. The siblings were finally taken into care in December 2023 after their own parents told social workers they could not look after the children. It was then a ministry worker attended their home and found extensive evidence of neglect.
There's been no accountability. No one's been held accountable as far as the ministry, the RCMP, nor the parents.
I've asked over and over and over again, who's going to be held responsible for what's happened to these kids?
CTV News repeatedly requested an interview with the Minister of Children and Family Development, but we were told she had no availability for 4 weeks. Instead, her office issued a statement saying it could not talk about the specifics of the case due to confidentiality. CTV News also reached out to the RCMP, who said there is an ongoing and complex investigation into the care of the children and whether it meets the threshold of a criminal offense. Meanwhile, the ministry says it has made changes, including updating policy, so when the ministry receives multiple calls, it prompts a supervisor to take another look at the situation. And that following a special audit, staff have recently received additional training on screening child protection reports. But family members say years of inaction by the ministry have had profound and lifetime impacts on the children.
The system failed not only the kids, but the family itself, because had someone stepped in and maybe said, this is what has to be done. You have to be able to, get counseling, you have to do this, you have to get medical treatment if you're having issues. Maybe they could have still been a family and we wouldn't be where we are, and the kids would have gotten early intervention help, but that didn't happen. And it only got worse and worse and worse and worse.
Their guardian saying she has concerns not just for these kids, but for other children whose suffering may also have been ignored.
I wonder and worry all the time how many other children are locked in their bedrooms not being checked on.
Michelle Bernoro, CTV News, Vancouver.
And tomorrow on CTV News at 6, how the children are doing now physically and emotionally, and whether they can fully recover from the trauma they've suffered. The village of Lytton is on high alert this evening after a local state of emergency was declared. Wildfires nearby triggered evacuation alerts and orders, but some area residents received good news this afternoon. The Nakaya Creek fire is no longer burning out of control and is being held at below 6 hectares. The evacuation order has also been rescinded by the Thompson-Nicola Regional District for 2 properties on Spencer Road South. An evacuation alert remains for the Lytton First Nation, but now a shift in weather is causing concern.
It's really windy right now, and that is a little worrisome. I believe that the fire that is on the west side, the Nakaya Creek fire, that has now been classified as being contained. So hopefully everything's okay with the wind. The one I'm worried about now is the Eisman Creek wildfire.
The Eisman Creek fire is burning out of control north of Lytton and has grown to 100 hectares. Highway 12 between Lytton and Lillooet remains closed because of the blaze and has sparked an evacuation order for 9 nearby properties. A grass fire broke out in Vernon last night, and investigators believe it was sparked by illegal fireworks. Mounties say the fire likely started around 10:45 p.m. in the Bella Vista neighborhood. 2 people were seen riding dirt bikes in the area around that time. Fire crews were able to contain the flames and no structures were damaged. It was 4 years ago that we began to get a sense of the horrifying death toll from an unprecedented heat wave. The 2021 heat dome has prompted changes in how extreme temperatures are handled in BC. But has it been enough? CTV's Penny Daflos takes a look.
It was a record heat wave meteorologists saw coming, but no one expected it to be so deadly, with British Columbia's medical and emergency response agencies unprepared.
The usual response that we have based on what happened in 2009 clearly was not sufficient.
Poor communication to the public, overwhelmed hospitals, and the collapse of BC Emergency Health Services.
It was apocalyptic that night.
Saw at least 619 people die in the days and weeks that followed. The BC coroner found nearly all had perished indoors. Most were older, poor, and lived alone.
It's indoor temperatures that can be the biggest risk for people.
The health authorities and emergency officials have made big changes to how they communicate the risks of extreme heat and have developed a comprehensive response plan outlining priorities and levels of alert.
Despite all the things that have been done since the 2021 heat dome, we still hear from seniors who are raising concerns about extreme temperatures. There's still confusion around how to get notified about heat warnings, not sure when to leave their homes.
Several studies, including a new one from UBC, are now advocating for what they call the right to cool.
It's not a luxury, and it's interesting to think of this in comparison to smoke alarms. So, when you move in somewhere, you don't expect to pay more because there is a smoke alarm. It is just, basic safety. And I think with the changing climate, we need to think of cooling in that sense too.
4 years after the deadliest weather event in Canadian history, there's no public memorial nor any plans for one. If somebody were to step forward, perhaps a fitting location could be the grounds of the legislature to remind policymakers of their obligations to the most vulnerable. Penny Daflos, CTV News, Vancouver.
A scary sight for beachgoers in Courtenay as a small plane crashed nose first into an estuary. It happened around 6 last night near the Courtenay Air Park after the pilot was forced to land to refuel. While attempting to take off, the plane caught its nose in the makeshift runway and nearly flipped over. Luckily, no one was hurt. BC Ferries and the Sydney North Saanich RCMP were kept busy last night when a man with no pants tried to drive his car on the vehicle deck before the ferry docked. Video posted to social media shows the Tesla driving before the ramp is down. A couple of police officers are waiting for him as ferry workers watch it all unfold. Mounties tell CTV News they were called for a disturbance aboard the vessel as it sailed from Main Island to Swartz Bay. At one point, the driver approaches the ramp and exchanges some words with officers. The ramp is then lowered. He returns to his vehicle and puts up a fight when he's removed and arrested. RCMP are recommending charges of assault with a weapon, mischief, dangerous operation of a motor vehicle, and obstruction. As frustration mounts over street crime and disorder in BC's capital, Victoria's mayor is promising significant changes. The city is reshuffling its budget and spending millions of dollars to address public safety. As CTV's Rob Buffum reports, it comes after a recent assault on a business owner downtown.
Dealing with street disorder has become a regular and major problem in BC's capital. Today, its mayor announced more than $10 million in funding to address public safety, including to hire 12 new bylaw and 9 police officers ASAP.
It's been a bit of a blight for sure, and it's one of the reasons why we're moving now.
Victoria's Pandora Street is ground zero for the problem, fueled by homelessness, mental health, and addictions.
It's been difficult for businesses, it's been difficult for their employees, it's been difficult for customers. But this kind of bold action is exactly what businesses are looking for.
Case in point, this downtown bike shop. Its owner attacked 3 days ago when closing his store. A man smashing a bottle on his wrist, breaking it. This outdoor retailer, around for 96 years, says it's been spending more and more money on security and welcomes today's news.
There's a lot of businesses in town whose revenue is down, especially if they have clientele that doesn't feel as safe coming down here.
The plan also involves moving people living on the street here elsewhere to temporary housing. It's not known yet where that will be or when exactly it'll happen, but the mayor did promise today there will be tangible improvements to this area and the downtown core generally within half a year. Victoria's police chief called it great news.
The current situation that we have is unacceptable. Status quo is not an option.
The millions to address lawlessness and safety aren't coming from new taxes. Instead, out of housing reserves and other previously planned projects, including upgrades to Centennial Square and Royal Athletic Park.
This can't wait. In 6 months, you'll see a difference.
It's a promise many have waited years to see and desperately want fulfilled.
And Rob Buffum joins us live from Victoria's Inner Harbour. And Rob, I understand the plan actually involves more than $10 million in funding to make Victoria's streets safe.
That's right, Mei Jung. The plan the city announced today actually involves $13.6 million to take steps to make the city safer, including rehabilitating Pandora Street. But they only announced plans or ways to account for just over $10 million of that. It's unclear where that additional $3 million will come from. The city has indicated they would certainly welcome funding from the province or federal government, so we'll have to see how that unfolds. But needless to say, both the police and business community certainly welcome today's announcement with open arms. Mijung.
Yeah, and Rob, we'll have to see in 6 months if the mayor's pledge comes true. Thank you. Homicide investigators say the recent deaths of 2 people in Abbotsford were the result of a murder-suicide. Police were called to a home on McKee Road shortly before 8 Monday night after reports of a physical altercation. Officers arrived to find 2 people dead inside. In an update today, homicide investigators confirmed an 80-year-old man and 80-year-old woman died as a result of a murder-suicide involving intimate partner violence. Anyone with information is asked to contact IHIT. A prominent local curler is facing the battle of her life. She has been diagnosed with a rare neurological condition which has paralyzed her from the chest down. The Abbotsford native is currently receiving treatment in Saskatchewan and has a long recovery ahead of her. CTV's Martin McMahon has the story.
Always running for the thrill of it.
Brooklyn Alexic is taking on the fight of her life
with a smile. The 20-year-old University of Victoria student has been diagnosed with transverse myelitis. The disorder occurs when a section of the spinal cord is inflamed. Last month, while in Saskatchewan ahead of starting a summer job, Alexic woke up paralyzed.
Basically, within 2 hours of waking up that morning, she was completely paralyzed from her neck down.
Alexic grew up in Abbotsford and is the daughter of well-known curler Shannon Jonice, who has competed in the Scotties Tournament of Hearts 5 times.
She has a huge circle of friends. She's a ray of light in everybody's life. She's positive. She's a fighter, and Brooklyn thrives academically. She's going to UVic to be a elementary school teacher.
Alexic has had her own fame as well, appearing in the 2024 documentary Curl Power, which followed her Maple Ridge-based curling team. The film was screened in theaters across Canada, tracking the ups and downs of the team as the girls push to compete in the Canadian Junior Curling Championships.
No crying now. We have so many more games to go.
Alexic's former curling coach has started a GoFundMe, which has raised tens of thousands of dollars in support and hopes to raise more. But beyond money, what Alexic and others with her condition really need is for people to donate plasma.
At the end of this week, she will have had 14 plasma exchanges, and each plasma exchange takes approximately almost 13 donors to provide enough plasma for one exchange, and Brooke will have had 14, and that totals 175 donors. So Brooke, it's really important to her.
The family is hopeful Alexic will travel back to the Lower Mainland by next week, with the goal of one day being able to curl again. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
Right on the button.
A search is underway for a 20-year-old man missing near Shannon Falls. Squamish RCMP and Search and Rescue are asking the public to keep an eye out for Alexander Nguyen, who was last seen on the Sea to Summit Trail yesterday afternoon while hiking with his family. He was wearing gray shorts with a tank top and flip-flops at the time, with his long black hair tied up in a bun. The federal government has reversed course after mistakenly declaring a Vancouver woman dead. CTV News brought you this story last week. June Miller's husband, Giorgio, passed away last September after 35 years of marriage. The grieving widow was left to file his final tax return. She was flabbergasted when her tax assessment arrived in the mail, addressed to the estate of the late June Miller. The 65-year-old went to Service Canada in person and provided all of her ID. The funeral home that took care of her husband wrote a letter confirming Giorgio is the one that died, not her. She says finally, after CTV News shared her story, Service Canada reached out to apologize.
The woman that I was speaking to told me that it really shocked her that when that was done, it should have been repaired within an hour of my call. And she has no idea why they prolonged it.
Miller thanks CTV and says she expects to start receiving her CPP payments later this month. After months of waiting, would-be parents in BC can now apply for a free round of in vitro fertilization.
Our IVF program will reduce the financial burden this costly process can have on families, support more people in our province on the path to parenthood, and ultimately change lives.
The publicly funded program will cover up to $19,000 for one round of IVF. Households with an income of less than $100,000 will be eligible for the full amount, with benefits phasing out for those earning more than $250,000. Patients must be covered by MSP and between the ages of 18 and 41 when they apply. Applications need to be submitted by a participating fertility clinic. The program was announced during last year's provincial budget, which allocated $68 million in funding over 2 years. The housing minister was in Delta this morning outlining new steps the province is taking to get more homes built faster.
Today, I'm so pleased to announce that we have made changes to regulations so that now all development cost charges, all costs associated with fees that are associated with development will now be shifted towards occupancy.
That means home builders builders will only have to pay 25% of fees up front, saving money for additional projects. The government's also expanding the use of on-demand surety bonds province-wide. These tools free up home builders' credit and are only in use across 40 Canadian cities. The changes are set to take effect on January the 1st. Another drop in gas prices today, with some drivers in Abbotsford filling up for under $1.24 per liter. The average price for regular fuel has fallen by more than 15 cents over the past week. Experts believe a cooling of tension in the Middle East is helping ease market concerns and drive prices down. A fascinating glimpse into orca behavior, what killer whales like to share with humans. Also ahead.
I mean, it was a roller coaster. My head was definitely spinning a lot.
With a deadline minutes away, the Vancouver Canucks score a deal to keep forward Brock Besser, a deal the player didn't see coming. When CTV News continues, stay with us. Canucks forward Brock Besser is shedding some light on the last-minute deal that kept him in Vancouver. It was an offer that no one, including Besser himself, saw coming. CTV's Shannon Patterson now on how it all came together.
Just minutes away from becoming a free agent, Brock Besser went to the gym, resigned to the fact he was moving on after 8 years as a Vancouver Canuck.
I was fully set on going somewhere else. So I had kind of a list of teams in my head that I thought maybe would be good fits.
Management has been saying Brock Besser has earned his right to check out free agency. And that was a very clear statement at that point that the numbers weren't there from the team standpoint.
Besser's agent was negotiating with other teams when Canucks GM Patrick Allvin called with a better offer than the reported 5-year, $40 million deal the right winger rejected in February.
You know, I kind of lit up. Even after everything that's happened, I still kind of had that feeling in my stomach. And, you know, I just listened to it and, you know, it felt right when they started talking and trying to figure out a deal. I just started getting excited. And, you know, I just knew it was meant to be.
Besser accepted a 7-year deal with the Canucks worth $50.75 million US.
The perplexing thing in all this is that a guy that they basically were trying to insist had no trade value, all of a sudden is worth $50 million.
While the dollar amount and extra 2 years were big factors, it's clear the Minnesota native wanted to remain a Vancouver Canuck.
I've said it many times, Vancouver feels like my second home. And, you know, it's just so comfortable. And you know, I love it there. So maybe I can get a house there now.
Besser also made a point of shouting out Canucks fans.
They've been so supportive of me. When you're just out and about and people say hi, everyone's so kind and respectful. And, you know, that means a lot to me.
The 28-year-old says he's ready to turn the page on the turmoil of last season.
You know, I think just this year we can focus on, you know, really bonding as a group, coming together, and pushing for the same goal.
Maybe it's that simple. They'll just win some games and we'll be talking about nothing but playoff hockey.
Shannon Patterson, CTV News, Vancouver.
A BC-based researcher has released a new study which features 36 documented cases of killer whales attempting to share food with humans. The study, conducted by Jared Towers and his team at Bay Cetology, looks at the altruistic behaviors of killer whales towards humans and other species. According to the team, the research was prompted by 2 separate encounters with orcas where the marine mammals would appear to drop their prey as an offering directly in front of the onlooking researchers. While more research is needed to understand the true intent of the orca's provisions, initial findings point to the inquisitive nature of killer whales and their psychological need to create bonds, including those with other species. And that is so fascinating.
I believe it. Yeah. I totally believe they would be like that.
Well, if an orca dropped a bunch of sockeye salmon,
could you imagine?
I would take it.
Yeah.
You?
Thank you. Go get me more, please.
I might pass on the seal, though. No thanks to the seal.
I don't need any of that. But
just
that's amazing. Yeah. Now you can make friends with them just so they can give you some food.
Exactly.
Amazing. All right, let's take a look at our forecast. A beautiful day out there. We are seeing mostly sunny skies and pretty warm temperatures. Here's a look across the lower mainland. 22 at the harbor. You're looking at 23 degrees in North Vancouver as well as in Burnaby and Abbotsford. Warmer in Pitt Meadows and Chilliwack, both sitting at 24 degrees right now. As we head through the overnight, it will will cloud over. We'll see a seasonal low of 12. Into tomorrow, we'll start off cloudy, but then it clears up quite nicely with a high of 20.
CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Plan, book, and safeguard your journeys. Explore the possibilities at expediacruises.ca.
We wanted rain in June, and we really didn't get it, and it's looking dry for the first week of July as well. I've got those details coming up.
At least it's a bit cooler this week, so it's a bit easier to sleep.
Well, for a few days, because it does ramp up. I've got those details as well.
All right, thanks, Ann. High-stakes guilty plea after 4 University of Idaho students were stabbed to death. What the victims' families are calling for in the deal. Also coming up.
He still faces substantial jail time. Of course, we would have liked to have seen a conviction on the sex crime.
Hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs acquitted on sex trafficking but convicted on less serious offenses. What this means for his jail time and the emotions outside the courthouse. That's ahead. A bombshell verdict in the high-profile case against rap mogul Sean Diddy Combs. The music industry icon was acquitted of the more serious charges of sex trafficking and racketeering, but convicted of prostitution-related offenses. CTV's Adrian Gabriel on the downfall of the former American rapper and what happens next.
Waving and smiling, the Combs family exited this New York City federal court. As protesters came face to face with supporters of Sean Diddy Combs, emotions running at a fever pitch, just moments after the jury delivered their split verdict.
Let Puffy go! Let Puffy go!
Delivered on the third day of deliberations, the jury of 8 men and 4 women declared the 55-year-old Combs not guilty of 1 count of racketeering, conspiracy, and 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, but guilty of the lesser charges of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Combs, who's already been incarcerated for 10 months, could still face considerable prison time. At sentencing, each of the prostitution transportation charges carry as much as 10 years behind bars. While Combs' lawyer declined to comment, multiple criminal law experts are declaring today a victory for the former hip-hop mogul.
It's absolutely a win. The defense took a really big gamble going to trial on this case.
The prosecution called 34 witnesses to the stand, multiple ex-girlfriends, including singer Cassie Ventura, who claimed that Combs forced her to engage in sexual encounters called, quote, freak-offs and hotel nights. Jurors watched this 2016 hotel video of Combs dragging and kicking her. Ventura's lawyer stopped short of calling today a victory for his client.
We're pleased that he's finally been held responsible for 2 federal crimes, something that he's never faced in his life. He still faces substantial jail time. Of course, we would have liked to have seen a conviction on the sex crimes in RICO, but we understand beyond a reasonable doubt is a high standard.
With this decision, Combs avoids a possible life sentence. Moments after the verdict was read out, his family began to cheer in the courtroom as the one-time music star appeared to fall to his knees in prayer. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Washington.
A man charged with stabbing 4 University of Idaho students to death has pled guilty in a move that avoids capital punishment. 30-year-old Brian Kohlberger admitted to the murders today, avoiding the death penalty. He was pursuing a PhD in criminal justice at a school close to where the victims lived. Evidence showed he visited their neighborhood at least a dozen times before the murders. No motive has been given, and there's no indication he had a relationship with any of the victims. Some of the victims' families have called for the deal to include a full confession and the location of the murder weapon. A Halifax man who admitted to killing his 71-year-old mother in a fit of rage last fall received a life sentence today. 41-year-old Jonathan William Pinsky pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. The charge carries an automatic life sentence with no chance of parole for 10 years. But Pinsky has already spent 265 days in prison, so he could potentially be released in 9 years. Prime Minister Mark Carney meets with car industry bosses to talk about U.S. tariffs. The industry wants Ottawa, though, to scrap its EV mandate. Also ahead, another record tumble for Tesla sales, how much they've dropped, and it's not just Elon Musk's politics that's turning buyers off. That's ahead. It might sound like a familiar movie, but passengers in Australia were really delayed thanks to a snake on a plane. The stowaway serpent was found in the cargo hold before takeoff. There were concerns it could be venomous, but it turned out to be a harmless 2-foot-long green tree snake. The snake catcher was able to wrangle it, and the flight took off after about 2 hours. They think it must have slithered into a passenger's luggage. An explosion at a fireworks warehouse in Northern California sent a massive fireball into the air. Take a look at this. You can see flames and smoke pouring from the facility, and then this massive explosion, which set off a number of fireworks. The blaze also appeared to spark additional spot fires. The fire forced some temporary evacuations in the area. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Prime Minister Mark Carney met with automotive sector CEOs today as trade talks with the U.S. continue. One key issue for automakers is the government's zero-emission vehicle mandate, which is set to kick in next year. It would require 20% of new vehicles sold in Canada to be either battery-powered or hybrid. Those in the industry say EVs currently account for 9% of total sales, and if they fall short, it's the car companies that pay.
To sell regular combustion units, they've got to buy a credit from some company that's earned it, or spend $20,000 per unit on charging infrastructure.
According to a readout from the Prime Minister's office, the meeting also looked at ways to make the auto sector more sustainable and competitive in the face of shifting trade relationships. Tesla sales fell more than 13% in the second quarter of the year, another record drop for the company. Reuters says sales are being dragged down by CEO Elon Musk's right-wing political stances, along with an aging vehicle lineup that is turning off some buyers. Tesla is facing stiff competition, particularly Chinese rivals who are expanding into Europe. The 13% sales plunge adds to growing signs that Musk's embrace of U.S. President Donald Trump had a deep impact on Tesla's brand appeal. Supernatural has long been a phrase used to promote BC. On This World UFO Day, St. Alexander looks at BC's history of mysterious sightings. Also ahead. BTS members have all finished their military service. Now they're ready to give their army the news they've been waiting for, a new album and a world tour. That's ahead. It's World UFO Day, and new data is revealing the top cities for alien sightings. And you might want to keep your eyes on the skies as Vancouver made the list. We'll have that story right after Anne's forecast. But first, a team of BC researchers has updated an online dictionary of Canadianisms, words and phrases unique to Canada, ranging from serious to slangy. One new entry is the term Canadian tuxedo, which refers to an all-denim ensemble. And due to the recent trade war, espresso mixed with hot water saw a rebrand from Americano to Canadiano. Other new additions include Canadian foods like ketchup, chips, and Nanaimo bars, while nicknames for cities include the Peg and Raincouver. And I haven't heard Raincouver used as much because we've had sort of a drier spring and summer.
Yeah, we might have to change the dictionary to Suncouver.
Exactly.
For the next week anyways, and for the last week, that is for sure. Yeah, the sun is shining and the temperature is warm all weekend long, and even today. Here's a look at our camera from on top of a Grouse Mountain looking out towards downtown Vancouver at Canada Place right there, and we are seeing mostly sunny skies out there. Active weather for the central interior interior and the Cariboo region. You do have a severe thunderstorm warning in place for Kootenay Lake, and a watch is in place for West Kootenay and East Kootenay through the afternoon into the evening hours. Ridge of high pressure dominating the south coast and southern interior. As we head into tomorrow, we'll see dry conditions once again. For the north coast, a slight chance of seeing a shower or two, but it does clear up quite nicely as we head into tomorrow morning, right through until tomorrow afternoon. Active weather, as you can see, for the northeast corner of the province. Fort Nelson, you will see periods of rain all day long. So for the provincial forecast, you're looking at a chance of afternoon thunder showers for Prince George, a provincial forecast right there at the bottom of your screen. For Port Hardy tomorrow, you're looking at 16 degrees under a mix of sun and cloud. Mostly sunny skies for Campbell River and Comox, warming up to 22 degrees. For the South Island, from Tofino right down to Victoria, partly cloudy conditions. You'll see temperatures between 16 degrees in Tofino, 23 in Port Alberni, with temperatures between 18 and 21 from Nanaimo right down to Victoria. Mostly sunny skies for the Sunshine Coast with a high of 20 degrees. Up the Sea to Sky Highway will be unsettled. Scattered showers for Squamish and Whistler. Mostly cloudy skies with temperatures between 20 degrees in Whistler and 22 in Squamish. And for us across the Lower Mainland, we're going to start off cloudy. It clears up quite nicely through the afternoon. Sunny skies with temperatures between 20 degrees near the water, 21 degrees for the Fraser Valley. Sunny and seasonal for Friday, 22 degrees. A few clouds to kick off the weekend. On Saturday, you'll see a high of 20. And then heading into Sunday, mostly sunny skies, 22. Monday, we'll see temperatures between 23 and 27. Tuesday, we're in the 30s for inland temperatures, 25 degrees near the water, and it'll heat up to 31 degrees inland for Wednesday. CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. So yeah, just around the seasonal mark as we head through this week, but next week, once again, we're back to the sizzling 30 degrees for inland sections.
Yesterday was so toasty. Finally had to bring out the fans. I guess I'll be needing them for the next little while.
And you might as well just get one of those kiddie pools just so you can have in your yard and cool down out there.
And just leave it out there.
Exactly.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Anne. Are we really alone, and is the truth out there? That is the question astronomers and stargazers are constantly trying to answer, but especially now on World UFO Day. What we know for certain, Vancouver is one of the top cities for mysterious sightings. Sinjin Alexander has the story.
It's an unidentified flying object.
There are hundreds of sightings every year in this country, thousands around the world.
What is that?
Most of the time, there is a logical explanation, and they're filed away and forgotten. But several remain unsolved, even by the Pentagon and NASA.
Any interest anybody ever has in looking at the sky, I want to talk about it.
On World UFO Day, stargazers had lots to say. Canada Sports Betting has compiled data from the National Unidentified Flying Object Center and figures the odds of being abducted by aliens is highest in Toronto, followed by Calgary, and then Vancouver.
For me, I think maybe the aliens are fans of skiing. I know you guys, they could be fans of skiing. I know I've got a friend who lives in Vancouver, and he says there's a lot of weird, wonderful, colourful folk living there.
Now that list was compiled just for fun, yet there are those who swear they've experienced a close encounter of the third kind.
I didn't make this up. These beings are real.
CTV News interviewed Corina Sables in 2014. Her depiction of a night in Kelowna about 10 years earlier caught international attention.
What I saw was 5 sets of eyeballs. And there was one that was closer to us on the side of the road, and 4 were behind this gate.
All the observations that we ever see are by chance observations, and science cannot be done with by chance observations.
NASA now has an independent commission that investigates what it calls unidentified anomalous phenomena. Perhaps they'll be able to explain how these perfectly made shapes suddenly appeared decades ago in northern BC. Sinjin Alexander, CTV News, Vancouver.
It's a big day for HMCS Vancouver as a new commanding officer takes the helm of the Royal Canadian Navy ship.
I have an awesome responsibility to lead our Canadian sailors. It's absolutely incredible. The people, the best of Canadians, serve in our Navy. They need strong leadership and guidance, and I hope I'll do my best to support them.
The change in leadership came alongside a major honor for HMCS Vancouver, recognizing its role in a major international mission off the coast of Libya back in 2011. The new commanding officer was the ship's operations officer during Operation Mobile. A big comeback is in the works, and BTS fans won't want to miss it. Plus, Buster and Brothers. Adam finds out how a pair of BC siblings are finding super inspiration. Coming up on the Sawatsky Sign Off. Right now, here's a preview of CTV Morning Live.
It's starting to heat up in our province. What's the best way to cool down in the long term? Thursday on CTV Morning Live, we'll hear from a UBC expert on the one thing communities can do to lessen the impact of intense heat. Also, should BC's electric vehicle mandate be scaled back? Why some say it might be too challenging to meet a 2030 deadline, and the changes being called for. We'll see you in the morning.
News, weather, and traffic. It's everything you need. CTV Morning Live, weekdays 6 to 9.
The BTS hiatus is over as the kings of K-pop announced their return. The superstars are working on a new album and going on tour after all 7 members completed their military service. The new album's expected next spring and will be their first since 2022. It's also been about 4 years since the band last toured. No word on Canadian tour dates yet.
I'm pretty sure you're on the wait list for everything, and we'll know if there's Canadian tour dates, right?
I will be keeping a watch on this. I might have to ask you guys to do a favor. I'll go on, do the lottery.
Right? Okay,
right?
for sure.
I you like them.
Yeah, we should all go together.
Oh my goodness, yeah,
Wouldn't
number one. Sure.
Be a fun show. Okay, this is also a fun show. An annual tradition south of Seattle saw more than 300 runners race down a track while dressed as dinosaurs.
And we're off to a roaring start. Short arms, long legs, pumping down the track.
This is the T-Rex World Championship races. The event began in 2017 as a team-building activity for a pest control company and has since become a beloved tradition. This year, a few participants jumped 1,500 meters from a plane, racing to the finish line from the air.
People are funny.
That has to be so hard to run in those suits.
They can look. You can
you see through the neck.
Okay.
We don't do those kind of team bonding things at CTV.
We should do that. And then go see BTS.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, Mary's here with a look ahead to your late local news.
Mijang, we are expanding on the wildfire story near Lytton. We spoke to the mayor, and she's reflecting on the 4-year anniversary of the devastating wildfire that destroyed the village. Residents are obviously still traumatized, and with the highway shut down, residents can't get to the only major grocery store in Lillooet. We'll have more at 11:30. Mijang.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Well, he is one of the original stuntmen, still inspiring others more than a century later. Adam finds out how 2 brothers grew out of superheroes and onto an old silent film star on the Sawatsky Sign Off.
If this were a decade or so ago, these brothers would likely be watching something with superheroes.
As a little kid, I wanted to be the Incredible Hulk.
Well, Grayson Cole Murphy was mesmerized by the Hulk's strength. His younger brother, Kalen, thought it would be wonderful to be a web slinger.
Spider-Man's cool. He can do flips, so I want to do flips, you know?
But instead of turning to a YouTube tutorial, Kalen taught himself how to move like he was in a Marvel movie.
He blew my mind and inspired me.
So, Grayson recently asked his little brother to start teaching him.
It's pretty scary. You kind of feel sick to your stomach a little bit because you don't know if you're going to land on your head.
Yet Grayson perseveres. But not to emulate some old superhero, not since he discovered the work of one particular old movie star.
It's a video of Buster Keaton and some of his famous stunts.
Buster Keaton?
Yeah.
Buster Keaton, who before movies had sound, made audiences laugh, and before CGI or AI was even an idea, made them gasp.
I think it's incredible one guy that revolutionized stunting.
Who more than a century later has now inspired Grayson to pursue stunt work professionally.
Wow, that was amazing.
Kalen, on the other hand, is practicing his super flips because he's been invited to play with a professional soccer team in Europe over the summer.
Maybe I'll do it as like a celebration if I score or something.
But there's one thing Kalen and Grayson know definitely. No matter who inspires them to do cool things, being brothers encourages them to be better people.
Teaches me to not give up.
He's taught me like being responsible for myself, being able to self-reflect.
And they've both learned that even better than growing up to be like a comic book dynamic duo is actually being real-life best friends. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Colwood.
Aw, brotherly love.
Yeah. Would you ever attempt to flip like that?
No. I used to be able to do an aerial.
Oh, really?
The cartwheel.
Oh, okay. I'd like to see that one day. All right, thanks for joining us. Good night.